welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org, Consequence, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks so much for checking out the series. And I hope you subscribe. I do 3 new interviews every single week, so it's a great way to keep up with your favorite artists. And I am so excited today to be talking with Westlife. They are coming to America.
Hi, hey, Kyle. It's good to be on the show, Kyle.
It's so great to see you guys. Let me first say the outstanding music that you put out through your career has only gotten better. You did the record a few years ago called Wild Dreams, but you've never made it to an American tour, and that's changing next year in March. Some shows already sold out. First off, hi, but also, what took so long, y'all? We've been here.
That's the question we keep on getting. I don't know, it's strange because, I don't know, like, it's almost happening, and we didn't even, not that we didn't mean or that there wasn't effort put into it, but it's kind of happening. We had no idea that the gigs were going to sell out and there's going to be more gigs put on. And there's just, on top of, regardless of ticket sales, there just seems to be a very good vibe. It's like, just tapped into something new almost, when we first came here 20 whatever years ago in 1999, we were thinking, how can we convince the entire American public to, like Westlife and become fans? But what we're realizing is that there's a lot of people in America, because it's a country that people move to and work in. So there's lots of people from other countries, expats, that maybe from a country where they grew up, that Westlife is known. And so you've got a lot of Irish people, you've got a lot of Asian people, say from Philippines, there's Chinese people, all sorts of people from all over the world. And so it's sort of like might be a bit of a sidestep, but it's a really cool thing because there's thousands of people that want to come and see our gigs in all these cities. And so, we're happy to fill out the gigs and sell out the gigs, and whoever wants to come is welcome.
Yeah. Well, it is. And to see those shows, I mean, that must have been something. Like, it's finally happening. We're finally booking them, and just sold out right away. Like, I don't know if you can, you probably can't predict that. I'm sure you're hopeful of that.
No, you can't predict it. No,
there was no, as Mark said, there was no, like, we didn't have a temperature on the ground of what the demand for a Westlife show would be. And Mark's right, he only selected a couple of countries, but you've also got, we were quite successful in Mexico. We were quite successful in Brazil and Argentina. So, a lot of the people who supported us when they were very young have grown up and moved and are working in the States or Canada or whatever. And then equally, our first record here sold 500,000 in the round. So there is a small pocket of American fans that like pop music, and I guess European style pop music as well. So we didn't know, would we sell when we put on the likes of Radio City Music Hall in New York? Was that going to sell the capacity of 6,100, or was it going to sell 6? And that was a big risk. And I remember on the morning it went on sale, like we're all on WhatsApp and we're in touch with our management going, with the emoji with the eye like this going, well, is it abysmal? Is it 100 tickets? Is it none? Is it? And the result was like bang, bang. Boston sold out, New York sold out, Canada, we need to add more, Chicago. And now all of a sudden we're like, well, that's amazing. Like, 20 years plus into the band, we're still, I guess, breaking new ground. And that's made me personally, and I know it's the same for the lads, more excited than ever. That, what it is we do, but we're able to kind of venture into these new territories and have fun. And life's for living, where you don't get any younger. So take the risks, drink the coffee, have fun. And we've done that. We gambled, it's paid off. We're really excited.
Yeah. I will say that I say this tongue in cheek, a little surprised that you guys picked, to base this around St. Patrick's Day, because I figured you guys would hate us for what we've done to that holiday.
It's not St. Patty's Day, by the way. It's St. Patrick's Day.
Right. Right. But yeah, we've just made that an abomination. So if you're coming to take it back, I completely, yes, I understand.
It's balance it out. How it's done.
But we're here to embrace it.
Yeah, there was a quote that you guys said somebody said in 2018 that we won't step away from this until we've managed to tour the whole world.
Sorry, Siri wanted to know.
Siri fingered.
Sorry. Oh,
But you said you're not going to step away from this until you manage to tour the whole world. And that really does seem like it's been like, I mean, not that I'm asking you to step away from this ever again, please don't. But it does seem like that's been sort of the one prime directives. Like, let's make sure we get.
I think so, to be honest. Like I think social media has kind of opened our eyes to how many countries we've been successful in. When we announce new dates in different countries around the world, all we get is a flurry of comments underneath going, please come here, please come here, please come here, which is incredible, And I think for us as a band, I suppose throughout our career, we always thought that we were only successful in certain pockets of the world. But what we haven't realized is how much it's spread. I mean, even when we came to New York this week, we were walking down the street and somebody's putting their window down going, oh my God, it's Westlife. And we were like, hold on, that was an American accent.
Yeah.
That wasn't an Irish accent or an English accent, So I think like
we did Happy St. Patrick's Day.
So, I think it is hard for us to read and hard for us to gauge because I suppose things have changed so much in the music industry. Before it was based on record sales, and now that's kind of changed a lot, because people are streaming music and they're watching YouTube more so than buying records. And interestingly enough, somebody showed us a statistic recently of our YouTube page, and it was like 35% of people that watch our YouTube page on a regular basis were Americans. So things like that, you kind of go, wow, how is that happening? So
we're doing the Rose Bowl in California next year.
Absolutely.
Like we actually don't know.
I mean, homesick Irish and people,
we just don't know who it is. So we don't know how many nights we could do in Radio City because we've put on one, it's sold out. Canada, we put on one, we're now on 3. So it's kind of like, and the problem that we have now is there's no dates available for us to add shows on. So we're a little bit frustrated with that. But
the venues,
the venues are all already taken up. So look, it's a great position to be in. We're delighted to be doing it. And as we said in our comment, we really do want to reach parts of the world that we've never been to, or parts of the world that we didn't realize we had success in.
Simon Cowell said to us, because we were with him for 20 odd years or whatever in the first part of our career, he signed us as teenagers, and he used to say to us in his office, guys, there are no rules. and we never fully understood what he meant.
How did he say it again?
Guys, there are no rules. And you know what? He's so sorry this way. But you know what? Now at 44 years of age, we kind of understand what he means. Sitting here going, yeah, there are no rules. Don't listen to, or don't kind of just follow the trend. Like I said earlier, drink the coffee, buy the shoes, enjoy yourself. And
wear the hoodie.
Wear the
coffee.
Well, drink the beer.
It's also like, don't be afraid to take risks. Because it was a risk, maybe.
If you sit on the fence, you'll get splinters.
Announcing these shows, and you'd never know unless we did it. And I think we did a show in Mexico like recently, and it was the first time we'd been there in like 19 years. And it was a big festival. It was like 50,000 people at it, and literally they were all singing every word, every single person in there. So it was just kind of, I suppose, breaking new boundaries and not being afraid to take risks, like we said. And this risk has definitely worked out.
Yeah. Well, and to compliment you, I mean, people are finding you still because of the music. I mean, the music is the bottom line, right? You put out an excellent record, which is what now, just a couple of years old, with Wild Dreams, and listening to that, and especially listening to it even more this week as I was thinking about this interview. I understand the time it came from. Obviously, it's where a lot of albums sort of came from during the lockdown pandemic and all that. But hearing it sort of in this context, do you all get the feeling, as I listened to it anyway, that's what I took from it, that a lot of the album is almost, it's not nostalgic, but it's almost like trying to get back to something. Does that make sense?
Trying to get back to pop, yeah. Just pure up pop music. That's what I suppose back in the day, we were a boy band, but we were a pop group and we love pop music. And I think Wild Dreams is very much like that. I think Hello My Love is very much like that. But there's obviously, you got to try and have I suppose an edge to it too, and try and develop and grow with your music. But our fans love, obviously, the hits. They love the catalog. They love the 20 years of songs that are now becoming nearly timeless in a way, some of our songs, because they're memories for people. Every night we sing these shows, they want to hear the hits, they want to hear the memories, because they remember where they were when they listened to that song first. And somebody asked us earlier on today, why don't you don't change your songs too much when you perform them live? Why is that? It's because people love the songs the way they were.
People will give out if we do.
Yeah, so it's it is. It's memories for people, and I kind of think pop music will always be popular music.
Mm-hmm. Nicely done. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
With these songs, you know, and I know so many of them do start with you all writing them, but you know, as you work with other songwriters as well, do you find then that there's like, how do you still get to the Westlife thing? You know, when you're working with these other songwriters who are newer generations than you worked with before, you know, and you know, you mentioned Hello My Love, and we're talking about Ed Sheeran there. You've also got Stephen from Codaline on here, who I've had on this series. Like when you're working with this newer generation, is there still a need for it to be Westlife?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's always going to be Westlife, but some of the guys you've mentioned, whether it's Steve from Codaline or the Picture This guys or anything, all these people are younger than us and grew up when we were having our major success. So I know we all found when we were in the different writing rooms and Zooms, because it was during COVID, the pandemic, and when we spoke about Westlife, they all had their different kind of ideas of what Westlife, was or needs to be or where it evolves to. And all of those guys would be like, oh, the big Westlife ballads, Fly Without Wings, Swear It Again, those big songs. And then World of Our Own, the up-tempos, or When You're Looking Like That. And again, those guys were in school or college or, well, school when we were, kind of college years. And they had those memories. But again, it's part of the first answer of evolving. And we did more writing on this album, on that Wild Dreams album, than we probably have ever done.
But I think the voice was good. The most thing that comes back to you said, how do you get it to sound like Westlife? It always comes back to the voices. That we love to sing together. We have a sound. It's different to anyone else, obviously, and it's Westlife, and it will always be Westlife. And no matter what song we sing, we can turn it into a Westlife song. But again, it has to be a great song, and that's the great ones are the ones that stand out then.
Yeah, and to speak on some of those great songs too. I mean, Lifeline. One of the personal favorites that I've had off this one. I'm looking at my list over here, just the notes I took. I mean, Alive, Nicky, did you wrote that one, right? That one came from
a couple of the guys from Picture This, the Irish band as well. Yeah, and again, that song, the chorus in that song, if you listen to the lyrics, it's completely about the world coming back, the way, having everybody been locked up for so long. Lifeline, the boys, Shane and Mark wrote. Did you guys write that one?
Mm-hmm. Amy Wedge.
With Amy Wedge, and again, great track. And I think we possibly could have done more, but we were all in separate places at that time as well. So it was that was a challenging time for the band, if you want the truth, because we were never together.
It was tricky, yeah. It was a tricky album to make.
It's not an album, I think, that, or the making of that album is not a time that I think we'd all want to revisit any time soon. But that doesn't mean we all can't, get in and do in future when we do write again or do decide to do an album again. And we can look at those avenues. But we're actually approaching our 25th anniversary at some point of Swear It Again, Flying the Wings, touring, all the major things. And I guess that's a big time when we could look at, well, the next evolution. What's the next career record? I mean, through the years, we've had songs like, we covered You Raise Me Up, which is obviously an Irish written song that Josh Groban made huge. That then we had major success around the world with, we did number one album in the UK, Australia, everywhere with that song. And it's probably one of our most career-defining songs, and brings tears to people's eyes when we sing it, because for everything. I mean, what the lyrics mean. I mean, even some of us have lost parents, and that song resonates with us now more than ever. And when you put yourself through, or when you go through those times. So yeah, lots of different times for Westlife. But in time, when we decide to do an album again, whatever that is, we'll start to look at all those avenues again.
Yeah, that'd be exciting too. And I also want to bring up Magic, by the way, is one of the most fun songs on the record. I imagine that's probably a great live moment if you guys are doing that one, because it feels like it would be.
Magic was written for the album before that, Spectrum, and it never kind of got fully finished, and it just didn't kind of cut through. And then we just revisited it on the next album. We were like, oh, what about that song? And everyone listened to it, and it just seemed to work. I think it always maybe was going to work, but we just didn't get it finished in time for the album that it was actually written for.
Good tune, very good tune. I like that.
Yeah, extremely fun song, and that vibe that it's got on it's a little different, I think, than the rest of the record. It sets it apart.
It's actually got a bit of a touch of Uptown Girl in there, I think, as well. It's actually got a bit of going back to a Billy Joel kind of vibe in there, and it just kind of went that way naturally because the piano, the guy that we wrote it with, Jamie Scott, he's great in the piano, so he was just having fun on the piano, big grand piano in the studio, and it was a bit like Billy Joel having fun when he's on stage. So maybe it went down that route for that reason.
Talking about 25 years, and that also got me thinking about like the era that we've been in for the past few years with like K-pop's dominance. Do you all see any parallels from, you know, the world that you came from 25 years ago, and what, because I know it's sort of a different world, but there's got to be some similarities.
The only thing that we kind of look at is go, look, you know, stick a load of guys in a band, put them up on the stage singing love songs, and people go crazy. You know, I think that's probably the similarity. And I think, you know, for the rest of time, that's going to happen. It just moves in different avenues, different styles of music. You know, even when you look back at Bon Jovi, I mean, I'm sure they'd hate to think that they were a boy band, but they're in a kind of way, they kind of were, you know. The Beatles, exactly. Like, you know, so look, at the end of the day, I think, you know, pop music, as Shane said earlier on, love songs, things that we can all relate to. You know, I think that's what makes music good, right? It's stuff, it's emotion. And I think, you know, if you can make a song that touches people in whatever way it may be, if it makes them want to get up and dance, or if it makes them, you know, just have that, you know, that butterfly feeling in their tummy, I think that's what it's all about. And that's what we try and do, you know, when we're putting our set list together. It's like, you know, how's the flow of this? You know, it needs to, you know, hit you in the face when we first come out, and then slow down. There needs to be the sing-along moment. That, you know, you need to try and place all these moments throughout a show. So yeah, you know, like it's good fun kind of trying to figure it all out. But, you know, I think it'll always be around.
It lends itself then into the live shows, because that's what we love to do. And there's nothing like sitting down planning a tour and going out there, because the tour you can kind of, I don't know, express yourself even more. All the songs are being played together. People are paying good money. You know, our aim is always to have people leave the arenas and stadiums, whatever, in better form or moods than they first came in. You know, and we do try and do that with creatives and song choices, you know, audio visuals, everything, costumes, you name it. And yeah, brings it back to where we are with the tour coming up, you know. And we're actually mid-flow on the tour at the minute.
Well, you guys have become masters at it. And seriously, congratulations on the success of these shows and everything that you've been doing. And the new record. And I hope that there's more records on the way down the line. I'll be listening. But seriously, congrats, guys. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk about it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
And thanks to my guest. Also, thanks to you for checking out the episode in the series. Before you get out of here, hit that subscribe button. Again, you get 3 brand new interviews every single week. New one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at right here on YouTube, or of course anywhere in podcast land, including iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, or WFPK.org as well. A great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover new ones as well. Then after that, actually head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, Facebook, Instagram, mostly on Twitter. All 3 of them, the address is at Kyle Meredith. Do hope you like and follow along. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.